Good evening. This is week 2, DQ2. Explain the legal term voir dire, its origins, and its purpose. Voir dire, to speak the truth. The legal term voir dire is a process of choosing jurors who stand to be impartial and fair in the judgment of a criminal case. The term voir dire itself is a French term, and it can be translated as to speak the truth or to see to speak. Hill, Martinez, note 8. Though debates have been made as to the origins of the concept of voir dire, there are many historical accounts of law courts in ancient Athens in which jury courts were employed. The smallest of such juries contained 201 members and sometimes had as many as 1,501 members. Hill, Martinez, note 8. In the United States, voir dire can be traced to the 1760 Massachusetts jury selection law, Lieberman, Sells, 2007. However, the purpose is to ensure that prospective jurors were sought without biases that could serve as an impartial peer in a criminal case. Detail the process of voir dire and distinguish between preemptory and discretionary strikes of potential jury members. Voir dire is a process by which potential jurors are chosen from a pre-selected jury pool. This is completed in order to determine if a juror is suitable to carry out the task of being a juror. During this time and process, the candidates are questioned by a judge and attorneys from both parties. Every citizen in the United States is required a duty to serve on a jury is requested. The jury selection is pulled by a jury pool from sources such as voter registration, Secretary of State records, the DMV, and Department of Public Health records. This selection is a mandatory service and fulfills the idea that the person accused of a crime receives the trial that is impartial by his peers. Provide an opinion of whether or not the process of voir dire serves its stated ends. The concept of voir dire serves its ends. Emphasize the word concept. The purpose of voir dire is to filter out any potential jurors who have biases. This includes people with strong opinions of the matter at hand, people who may have knowledge about the case, people who may have a bias for the prosecution or defense, and personnel who work in certain professions who may have preconceived notions such as law enforcement professionals. However, social science research has shown that jurors routinely believe that a defendant must prove his innocence and that the mere fact that the defendant is standing trial is proof of guilt. Jurors persist in these beliefs despite proper instruction on the law. Johnson, 2015. Create improvements in the current system of voir dire to ensure fair and impartial jurors for criminal trials. The system in which we have now, I believe, is ran well based on the concept of it. By concept, I mean the process in which we select jurors who can serve as unbiased peers in a case. If improvements were to be made, we would have to find a way to change the idea that the social science research has shown, where jurors think that the defendant must prove his innocence with the notion that just because someone is being tried in a criminal case, they are guilty. In my opinion, to make an improvement, this stigma must be changed. Explain whether or not a defendant is entitled to a fair or perfect jury. I believe each defendant is entitled to a fair jury. There is no perfect jury, as studies have shown. With a fair jury, the steps of weeding out biased jurors based on the factors mentioned above, such as knowledge in the case, strong opinions, and certain professions. If these steps are taken, then a defendant is given a fair chance in the eyes of his peers. Distinguish between preemptory strikes of jurors versus strikes for cause of potential jurors. Preemptory strikes is the right to challenge a juror without assigning or being required to assign a reason for the challenge. Legal Dictionary, 2003. Virtually any reason at all, except if it was based on race, religion, or gender. This allows either parties to remove a prospective juror without reason with the idea of filtering jurors even more to gain a better qualified and unbiased juror. Strikes for cause occurs after voir dire and are strikes made to remove the juror based on the potential juror not able to follow an aspect of the law. For instance, a potential juror who states that they will hold it against the defendant if he doesn't testify will be struck for cause based on his inability to honor the Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination. Newman, 2011. Thank you.